Welcome back to the B2B Growth Show. We are in the middle of a series right now where I am breaking down some of the key takeaways from a conference that Jonathan and I recently attended, CTAConf in Vancouver, put on by Unbounce. And today's episode, I'm going to be talking about Tyler Farnsworth's session titled "A Roadmap to Remarkable Influencer Marketing." If you've been in marketing for any time, really, you know that everybody and their mom is talking about influencer marketing, probably more so than they're talking about storytelling right now. And so Tyler runs an agency that does influencer marketing for his clients, so he's living and breathing this, and just had a lot of really great takeaways. His roadmap was super helpful for both Johnny and I as we're trying to get our own head around influencer marketing and what that can look like for us. And so the first step on this roadmap to remarkable influencer marketing is starting with the end in mind. And so he talked about the importance of defining your core objectives, and then really running what he called a pre-parade, which is writing the headlines of the mythical future that you want. And so by clearly defining what are we trying to get out of this particular campaign, you're going to be in a much better position to actually achieve those results. The second thing that he talked about, so step 2 on this roadmap, is crafting a remarkable concept. And so one tangible takeaway that I remember from his talk, he talked about shifting your perspective. And so starting the kind of creative meeting with a brain teaser or an empathy exercise, to really get people thinking about non-boring marketing. And so he talked about inviting participants from outside of your typical group. He talked about changing the venue, like getting people out of what is normal to getting them into a headspace where you can really come up with some really cool ideas. So next, around this idea of a remarkable concept, he talked about setting the stage, being clear about what product or service you're discussing, what's the core challenge, how can we leverage influencers. And then he said that you've got to establish rules. So, you suspend your judgment, challenge every assumption, don't kill the idea, +1 the idea. This is a popular concept with improv comedians. They're always saying yes and instead of, you never want to reject somebody that you're doing improv comedy with. You always want to say yes and to whatever it is that they throw out there. And so by +1ing ideas, building upon the last idea, you want to make sure you hear from everyone. You're going to be getting some really creative, hopefully getting some really creative ideas out of that process. So he talked about this idea of faucet thinking. And faucet thinking is really, letting ideas flow. There are no dumb ideas whatsoever. And then sliding into funnel thinking, which is where you pare down those ideas until you get to realistic and feasible options. But if you don't have that faucet thinking and get all of the ideas out there, then you won't have, you might be paring down from a list of ideas that, where the best idea never made it on there because you didn't create an environment where people feel comfortable sharing everything. And so he talked about in this third step, he talked about building an influencer brief, and which is really just a well-defined list of items that you need your influencer to sign off on. The more clarity and alignment you can have on, between the brand and the influencers, obviously the better. This fourth step on the roadmap is recruiting the right people. And so he said that most people think that you want to find the influencer that has the largest audience, but that's not actually the case. You're looking for engagement and the influencer that's going to have the most alignment with your brand and what you do. And so there's an example that he shared from Blue Apron, and this one particular mom that has a large Instagram following. By selecting her, maybe she didn't have the most amount of followers, but Blue Apron was able to integrate their product into kind of the natural content that this mom was already sharing with her audience. And so because of that, it was a really great fit. He said he said you also have to make sure that when you're working with agencies, or when you're trying to build the list of influencers yourself, don't forget that they're people. You want to you can't just say give me all the influencers. You've got to recognize that these are people. So make your intro email personal. Give them a call. Use warm referrals. Do things that treat them like humans. He said that's something that seems like common sense, but it would probably be easy to kind of slip them into, okay, this influencer is going to drive this type of metric for our brand, so this is what we want to do, and you kind of lose the sense of the fact that this person is a human, and they are just happen to be a human that can actually help your brand grow. So and this fifth thing that he talked about, he said keep it real. He shared an example that Markelle Fultz, I actually saw this right before the conference as well. Markelle Fultz was the first guy drafted in the NBA draft a few weeks ago, and he got some copy for his Instagram post from this brand that he was promoting, and inside the copy for the Instagram post, were inserts for the team name and the city name, because when they created the copy for the post, they didn't know where Markelle was going to be drafted, and so he ends up, or his social media person ends up posting this photo with this watch that he's wearing, the brand that paid him to promote it, and they left out the actual team name and the actual city name and left in just city and team name, and so it was just an awful representation of influencer marketing, because they didn't pay attention to those details, and so make sure that you're keeping it real. Number 6, amplifying influencer content. So adding paid social to boost your influencers' content is a really smart strategy. Creating retargeting pools based on Facebook video engagement. So if you did a video with a particular influencer, taking and saying, hey, whoever viewed more than 10 seconds of this video, we're going to retarget them with something else. Leveraging influencer content on content display, running YouTube pre-rolls, and using dedicated landing pages are all ways to amplify the influencer content that you've created. The 7th one really is measuring, iterating, and repeating. And so some of the things that he listed off were some of the things to look at, to measure, to iterate on, are really the quantity of your influencer partnerships, the quantity of original content that you create, the total number of impressions. You want to look at user engagements, views, and brand mentions. You want to look at the growth of your owned properties as you're doing more and more influencer campaigns. See how your owned properties are growing as a result of that, and measure that. So you also want to measure clicks and conversions, time on site, and bounce rate as well. So as he was leaving the stage, he shared a really cool example of just kind of outside the box thinking. There's a brand of a protein bar that is made with crickets, and so he was kind of giving an example of how you could come up with some potential concepts to leverage influencer marketing to promote this protein bar that is made with crickets. And so a few of the ideas, we're partnering with YouTubers to do blindfolded taste tests, partner with a group of fitness influencers to promote #CricketPower, working with YouTube musicians to make a dubstep jingle by sampling cricket noises, which I thought was super creative and hilarious. Then he said, create an uncanny cover of Bringing Sexy Back using cricket chirps. So just a great way to end his talk and get you kind of in the mindset of thinking creatively about how you can partner with influencers to grow your brand. I thought it was an incredible talk. You can go to CTAConf.com. You can check out Tyler's entire talk, and I think you can actually access all of his slides from the talk as well from CTAConf.com. So make sure to check that out, and thank you so much for listening.